You're 31, and the number on the screen is one you're not supposed to know for another 9 days. 9 days until the trial results go public. 9 days until the stock moves, and you already know which way. This is your life through every rank of insider trading. What the edge buys you, what it costs, and the exact moment you stop being the one who profits and become the one they need to convict. Before. You are clean, and you don't know how good clean feels. You're an analyst 2 years out of business school, 60 hours a week building models nobody reads. And the man who runs your pod never writes anything down. Not a number, not a name. He listens on the phone with his eyes closed and a blank yellow legal pad in front of him that stays blank. His name is Dev, and everyone says he's the best read on healthcare on the street. You want to be him so badly, it feels like hunger. The first thing you learn is that the wall is made of glass. They call it the Chinese wall, the barrier between the people who know things and the people who trade on them. And in your building, it is an actual glass partition you badge through twice a day. Everyone can see through it. That's the joke nobody says out loud. Level 1. The tippy. It doesn't start with a suitcase of cash. It starts with Dev turning his monitor 2 inches towards you and saying, "What do you think of this name?" The name is a medical device company. You do the work. You build the honest model. And somewhere inside the honest model is a number Dev already had before you started, because a man he plays golf with sits on the board. You don't ask. That's the first skill. Not lying. Not asking. The trade works. Your pod is up 4 million on it in a week, and your year-end number goes from a bonus you'd planned a vacation around to a bonus you buy a car with. 40,000 becomes 200,000 becomes a decimal point that finally moves the way you want it to. Nobody hands you a document. Nobody says the words out loud. You just start eating well, and you notice you sleep fine. Here's the part they never warn you about. It feels like being smart. It feels exactly like being smart. That is the entire trap, and you will not see it for 4 years. Level 2. The cultivator. Now you build your own. You learn the system everyone uses and nobody photographs. Expert networks. Companies that will connect you, for a fee, to a doctor running a trial, a supplier who knows the order book, a mid-level manager who is one bad mortgage away from answering one specific question. It is all technically legal. The doctor is a consultant. You are conducting research. The fee even clears through compliance. The mosaic theory says that if you assemble a picture from many small legal pieces, the picture is yours to keep. You get very good at the mosaic. You have a source at a contract research lab who reads clinical data for a living and reads it for you on the side. And you never write her name down because Dev taught you that. Because Dev is in the room even when he isn't. Your brother teaches high school chemistry in the town you grew up in. He has a retirement account with $9,000 in it and no idea what a catalyst is worth. So you quietly start putting him in the same names, a little behind you, small enough to look like luck. You tell yourself it's the only clean thing you do. You tell yourself it's love. It is the thing that will end you, and it is love. Both are true at the same time. The money is real now. A house you're never in. A watch you stop noticing on your wrist. There is a Friday that spring when you leave the office at 6, the first time in 2 years, and you take a car to a restaurant that doesn't take reservations, and they seat you immediately, and you order without looking at the right side of the menu, and for about an hour you think, this is what it was for. This specific Friday. You hold that for the length of dinner, and a quiet you have started paying for, the specific silence of a phone that has a second phone. Level 3. The launderer. You think the mosaic is your protection. This is the level where you learn it was your job, because the mosaic was never real. There was one source, one clean number that moved the stock, and everything else was packaging. The honest models, the consultant calls, the reports you circulate to the desk. You were not assembling a picture from pieces. You were taking one stolen fact and dressing it in enough paper that when it won, it looked like genius. And if it ever lost, the paper led to you. Dev has known this the whole time. Dev never writes anything down. You write everything down because you were trained to build the mosaic, and the mosaic is a paper trail with your name on every single page. You are not the smart one in the room. You are the layer that makes the smart one deniable. Sit with that for a long time. The pad in front of Dev is still blank. Level 4. The node. Now you run people. 2 analysts under you build honest models, and you do to them exactly what Dev did to you. Turn the monitor 2 inches. Ask what they think of a name. They don't ask. You taught them the first skill without saying a word. You are up 300% over 4 years, and there is a floor in a building in Lower Manhattan where 40 people are quietly reading your email. You don't know that yet. What you know is that your source at the lab stopped answering 3 weeks ago, and a compliance officer you have never spoken to now says good morning to you by name. The Galleon case ran on wiretaps. That is the thing nobody in your world can quite believe. That they wired the phones. That a hedge fund manager's own voice, relaxed and certain, saying a number he should not have said, is what put him in a cell for 11 years. You know this story. Everyone in the building knows it. And every one of you keeps talking anyway, because you cannot run a network in silence, and the silence was always the only real protection, and only Dev ever actually kept it. Your brother's account got a letter. Unusual trading activity. He calls you, laughing, proud, thinking he finally got good at something. You tell him to sell everything and never buy those names again, and you keep your voice very flat. He goes quiet. He was a chemistry teacher who trusted his little brother with the only $9,000 he had. His name will be a footnote in a filing you will get to eventually. You get as far as his name. Level 5. The name. This is the top. Your book is a number your old business school professors now use in lectures. There was a morning 3 weeks ago when the analyst whose monitor you turned 2 inches came to you with a question about a name. Something was off in the way he asked it. Too careful. Too specific. You filed it away and told yourself you were paranoid. You had been paranoid before and been wrong. You answered the question. You answered it completely. And you are sitting in a conference room with your own lawyers on either side of you. And one of your analysts, the one whose monitor you turned 2 inches, has been wearing a wire for 6 months. They don't call it insider trading in the room. They call it a 10b-5 violation, and disgorgement, and a number. Everything you made, plus a penalty of 3 times everything you made. The car, the house you were never in, the watch you stopped noticing, handed back, and then more, to a government that will spend it on something you will never see. You look for Dev. Dev is not in the building. Dev is not in any building. Dev is on gardening leave that will quietly become retirement, in a house on the water, because there is not one page anywhere with his handwriting on it, and there are 10,000 pages with yours. The best read on healthcare on the street read exactly one thing better than everyone else. He read which man in the room would be holding the paper when the music stopped. You're 38 now, the blank yellow legal pad. You finally understand it. It was never laziness, and it was never a quirk. It was the whole strategy, and he showed it to you in plain sight every single day, and you thought you were watching a man too important to take notes. Here's what insider trading actually is. It isn't a trade. It's a chain of people arranged by who can afford to be known, and the information at the top of the chain is safe. It was always safe. The only thing that ever gets convicted is a person, and the person is always the one near the bottom who wrote it down. If this one got to you, subscribe and drop a like. There's more coming. You have done a version of this. Not the money, the smaller thing. The moment you didn't ask a question because you already knew the answer would cost you something to hear. The quiet talent for letting the pieces add up to a number you told yourself you were allowed to keep. Everybody has a wall. They can see straight through. Somewhere right now, a kid 2 years out of business school is watching a man who never writes anything down, wanting to be him so badly, it feels like hunger. The man is turning his monitor 2 inches. The yellow pad in front of him is blank, and the biggest number the kid has ever seen with his own name on it is $40,000. It always starts there.